There's a lot of overreaction going on right now, which is par for course in the NBA playoffs. And by the way, I know a lot of you guys in my audience have been turned off by the NBA and their woke politics. But if you're not watching the conference finals, you really are missing out. I really hope the ratings for the conference finals are through the roof. And here's why. I hope the NBA front office wakes up and realizes that when you don't have any wokers left, or very few wokers anyway, and your league is about basketball instead of woke politics, then people will watch. Because the product on the court has been phenomenal throughout the playoffs. I also see a lot of talk this morning about Trae Young and Luka Doncic. I wonder if Mike Cuban is regretting trading Trae Young now. It's all over social media. I heard them talking about it this morning on Undisputedly Woke on Fox Sports 1. It's a pointless conversation. I have never understood these fantasy conversations. What if the Hawks had Luka? What if the Mavs had Trae Young? They don't. So it doesn't matter. I don't live in a fantasy world. I don't live in a world of what if. I live in reality. All right, let's go ahead and get into the game from last night. I know you guys don't like when I'm hard on Giannis. I usually average anywhere from 90 to 100% on my like-dislike ratio. The video on Giannis where I'm very critical of him that I posted on Sunday, the message was clear from the like-dislike ratio. You guys don't share my opinion on Giannis. There's a reason, though, that I'm so hard on him. There is a reason that I hold him to a higher standard. When you're a two-time MVP, when you want to be mentioned on the same level as the LeBrons, the Steph Currys, the Kevin Durants, then you have to win in the postseason. And Giannis has crumbled so many times during the playoffs. I gave him credit for stepping up big in Game 7 against the Nets. He even played well last night in Game 1 against Atlanta. Giannis was not the problem last night. We'll get into that here in just a second. This series against the Hawks, this is a legacy-defining series for Giannis. And also for Mike Budenholzer, because if the Bucks lose this series, Mike Budenholzer is gone. Don't think for a second that Milwaukee beating Brooklyn in the second round was enough to keep Mike Budenholzer around. He is still on the hot seat. But Giannis cannot lose this series. He may never get another opportunity like this to win a championship. It is wide open for Giannis to take over. All the mainstream superstars are at home. They are watching just like the rest of us on the couch. Kawhi Leonard, he's injured. This is Giannis's time. He has got to seize the moment. No excuses. Now, I'm not going to overreact to the Game 1 loss. I was actually encouraged by something that I saw late in the fourth quarter from the Bucks. We'll get into that here in just a second. Milwaukee had one major problem, though, last night. Chris Middleton. One bad game in the playoffs, I can write that off as an anomaly. Everybody has a bad game. But bad games in the playoffs, this is a trend with Chris Middleton. This dude is supposedly the second best player on the roster. Now, I think Jrue Holiday is, but most people think it's Chris Middleton. He's an all-star. Giannis cannot do this by himself. Besides Jrue Holiday, Giannis really didn't get much help from anyone else. Chris Middleton has got to step up. You can't go 6 for 23, 0 for 9 from 3, and put up 15 points in 41 minutes. This same damn thing happened against the Nets twice with Chris Middleton. Like I said, Giannis was not the problem last night, but I just don't know what it is about Giannis. I don't trust him, especially in late game situations. Now, I know he made some clutch free throws last night, but I can't explain why I still have reservations about Giannis. I don't trust him like I do a LeBron James or even a Trae Young. Another thing I didn't understand last night, the Bucks, kept throwing up three-pointers. We talked about this same thing in their series against the Nets. They have the same mismatch in the paint against the Hawks that they did against the Nets. Yet, they continue to shoot so many three-pointers. It does not make any sense. Again, this is on Mike Budenholzer. It is his job to put a stop to this. Giannis is dominating down low. He is dominating in the paint. He's scoring at will. Possession after possession, it is 3 after 3. Defensively, I thought the Bucks were atrocious for 3 quarters. I was actually surprised by Jrue Holiday. Going into this series, I thought he would at least be able to contain Trae Young. I mean, Jrue Holiday is one of the best defenders in the NBA. But it was clear in the first half, he wasn't going to be able to do that. So instead of Mike Budenholzer making an adjustment at halftime, they come out in the third quarter, and it's the same one-on-one situation. Trae Young burning the hell out of Jrue Holiday. There was one point, I believe it was in the third quarter, Trae Young crosses over Jrue Holiday, and of course, Jrue Holiday gets zero help from his big man. I believe it was Bobby Portis, who continued to just, sit in the paint. I just sit here and watch the show. Trae Young's pretty entertaining. Trae Young has like 3 seconds wide open, unopposed. All 5 Bucks defenders, they're just sitting there. We'll just watch, nothing going on here. Let's watch the show. And Trae Young does a little, shoulder shrug and drains a 3. That is absolutely inexcusable. In the Eastern Conference Finals, you allow your opponent's best player to stand there for 3 or 4 seconds, embarrass you on your home floor with his little dance routine, and then he drains a wide open shot. Now, what made it even worse, on the Hawks' next possession, there were no repercussions for Trae Young. Back in the 90s, had something like that happened in Detroit or Chicago or Indiana, New York, the very next possession, Trae Young is getting blasted. They are making him pay. The Bucks, they acted like, no big deal, no big deal. Now, I will give Giannis credit. He was getting in their ass during the timeout. He was calling everyone out. And that's what I like to see from the best player on the team, holding your guys accountable. Giannis knows that cannot happen. That is inexcusable. Now, I'm not writing the Bucks off in this series, not after one loss. I actually think this series could go 7 games. There was something I saw last night in the fourth quarter that gives me a little bit of faith in Mike Budenholzer. Mainly some renewed faith in Mike Budenholzer. He is notorious for being stubborn, for not making adjustments. He has a game plan, and he sticks to it. Doesn't matter if they get beaten by 3 or 30. He is sticking to his game plan. But he made a tweak in the fourth quarter last night, and it worked. The Bucks were getting absolutely nothing out of Brook Lopez. Hell, they haven't gotten much out of Brook Lopez the entire playoffs. He's been absolutely useless. Same with Bobby Portis. Mike Budenholzer pulled both of them in the fourth quarter last night. Went with a small lineup. Giannis, the lone big man on the court. They went with a mostly 5-man rotation for most of the fourth quarter. And what that adjustment did, it stopped Trae Young from decimating them in the mid-range. It took away that little floater that he does. Trae Young is most comfortable shooting mid-range jumpers, driving the paint. In the fourth quarter last night, he barely did any of that. He was shooting deep threes. The Bucks can absolutely live with Trae Young shooting deep threes. He's not the greatest three-point shooter. The problem now with the Bucks going small, it leaves them vulnerable on the boards. It allows a guy like Clint Capella to potentially dominate the glass, give the Hawks second chances offensively. Mike Budenholzer's going to have to live with that. You can live with John Collins putting up 23 points. You can live with the Hawks role players having a big game. You can't win this series with Trae Young going off basically unopposed. You can't live with Jrue Holiday by himself on an island trying to guard Trae Young. You can't do it. This is the biggest series of Giannis' career, at least to this point. Like I said earlier, this is a legacy-defining series. All of the pressure is on Giannis the rest of this postseason. you might not ever get this opportunity again. The title's for the taking. You're the favorite to win it all. You cannot allow a 22-year-old Trae Young, 3 years in the NBA, to take over this series like he took over game one. The Bucks are the more talented team. They're better defensively. And if Mike Budenholzer will continue to make adjustments, Milwaukee should win this series. But if they don't, the stain will go on Giannis's legacy. It won't stain Mike Budenholzer. Hell, he'll be fired. It won't stain Drew Holiday. It won't stain Chris Middleton. All of the expectations, all of the pressure is on Giannis. Fair or unfair, that's the way it is in the NBA. Trae Young and the Hawks, they're playing with house money at this point. No one expected them to be here. They have nothing to lose. While Giannis has everything to lose. It is NBA title or bust for him. All right, what do you guys think? Is this a legacy-defining series for Giannis? With most other superstars in the NBA watching from home, is this Giannis's best chance to win a title? Sound off in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.